When people make a mistake, they say, I'm only human. But when answering the question, are you going to heaven? The answer is often, I'm a good person. With these two statements, we assess our moral standing. We're not perfect, but we're better than some people. Is that how God sees us? Is that how He would assess our moral standing? Here's the sad truth. It's worse than you think. Don't get me wrong, God loves us with a love that we can't adequately describe with words. But in order to understand how much He loves us, we have to understand how He sees us. In our passage for this lesson, in Romans chapter 1, verses 18 through 32, God gives His assessment of the people throughout human history. The first portion of this text, in verses 18 through 23, describes the core problem plaguing man's moral standing, man's disregard for God's deity. After describing the inescapable truth about God's divine existence and authority, Paul states that man has, in verse 23, exchanged the glory of the immortal God for images resembling mortal man. Even in the first sin in the Garden of Eden, found in Genesis chapter 3, the lie that enticed Adam and Eve to violate God's command was that they would themselves be like God, making them equal with God. It wasn't God that they served and honored. They instead served and honored themselves. This is true of every sin. It's a selfish decision to serve our own desires rather than the deity of God. Consider this question. How would our lives be different if we honored God as much as His deity deserves?